Hello, hello, hello. Is this thing on? Hello,
Huh?
hello,
What?
everyone.
Yeah,
How-
it's on. It's on.
It's
It's
on?
on.
All
Yeah,
right,
it's
mic's
on.
on.
Yeah,
Cool,
good.
cool, cool.
Cool.
Hey, guys, what's up? This is the J Pixels podcast, the podcast every week where we break down video game topics down to their shadings and their pixels. Joining me is the fantastic, the marvelous, the outstanding Esteban Cuevas.
Ah!
I knew that was coming.
Yeah. AKA Hey Color Wind, and the even more magnificent, the even more fantabulous, the one, the only BJ Brown. What's up?
What's on, people?
I half expected him to just like introduce himself.
I was so close to doing so, man. So close. And yes, I am here, ladies and gentlemen. I am Shawn Richards. And today, whether it's PlayStation, whether it's Xbox, or whether it's Nintendo now, everyone has to pay a premium to go online. So, and now that Nintendo's full on the payment for online bandwagon, what do you guys think of it? What is it good? Is it bad? How much do you pay for online? Or do you just go on PC where online's free, baby?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, that's the question we're talking about. That's the entire point of today's podcast, man.
It is bullshit. No, I think it's fine. The only problem is that I have no. Let me see, how do I put this? I have no confidence that Nintendo is going to be able to pull this off. That's really it.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them paying for the service because you have to keep servers up and everything. It is a service after all, so I understand upkeep and not expecting something for that long for free, but it's got to be worth it, and I don't think it is, and I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, just to kind of give everybody kind of like a little brief taste into this. Used to, it was only Xbox Live that you had to pay for in order to get online. For PlayStation Network and for Nintendo, it was both for free. Although with Nintendo, they kind of struggled trying to get a good online presence. They've tried since the Wii, and it has not worked out well for them. For PlayStation, it worked pretty well, 2011 notwithstanding, until the PlayStation 4 came out. And with the PlayStation 4 came the introduction of, okay, now we're going to start to charge for online, but you get PlayStation Plus, which means you get all these free games every month that you can add to your backlog. Xbox decided, you know what, we're going to do our own thing with that, and they started doing games with gold. So now Nintendo enters in almost a little after a year after the Switch has been out. Actually, about a year and a half, rather, after the Switch is out, to say, okay, now you're starting to pay for online. And it's like, well, you get to play all these awesome NES games that nobody remembers about, like Balloon Fight. And you can pay Nintendo, you can pay for Nintendo Online to get access in that, as well as your cloud saves for most games, as long as you're paying us for it. And admittedly, it's at a lower cost about it, but just like you said, Esteban, I am not confident whatsoever that Nintendo has the holding power to get this done. Yeah. PlayStation and Xbox had the introduction of their new consoles to say, okay, here's the reason why we need to do this. We have a new platform. We're going to get all this done. Whereas Nintendo, they've had it on the Switch so far, and it has worked for Nintendo Switch, but they don't have an online chat system that's dedicated. You have to use your fucking smartphone in order to do like a Facebook chat. For people that don't know the Splatoon 2 situation, you had to hook in a bunch of cords just to even chat with your friends online. And because of the lack of that dedicated feature and the fact that if you don't keep paying them for your saves, One, they'll delete them off your Switch after a year. That mess happened earlier on this year. And they recently kind of backdated, rolled this back a little bit. They will delete your cloud saves after 6 months if you're not paying for Nintendo Online. Used to, if you didn't pay for it, you lost your saves. Boom, done. Now they'll let you lapse your subscription for 6 months before they delete your cloud saves. That's still a pretty shitty move on their part.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we should establish that it's not unreasonable for Nintendo to want to charge for online service. It's not unreasonable because what you need to do to keep a lot of games online, and this includes not only Nintendo's own games but also any third-party games, which they run themselves, but they're also getting a cut of that money though, because this is in the stead of, say, having to pay for each game that you pay for and buy individually for online service, and maybe that would be cheaper. Like maybe it's like, oh, you got to kick us $5 a month, but that would add up very quickly. Yep. So it's a lot better off being like, oh, we're gonna have the service where you pay $60 a year, or in Nintendo's case $20, which is not bad, and you'll be able to play any game online. That's fine, but the thing is, though, is that because we live in a capitalist society, there's a lot of other features and just conveniences that we've grown accustomed to because of the other services. Simply because just being able to play online is not really enough. That's why you have your cloud saves, and that's why you have a dedicated chat system, and pretty much you give us this money and you get all the suite of features nicely laid out for you for your convenience, because that's essentially what this is. It's not just for service, it's also for the convenience of being able to interact with it in various ways. And that's also because they're in competition with each other, so they will do that so that you'll pay for that service and only pay for that service for them. Of course, there's people who pay for multiple services, but that's usually not what they're going for. Nintendo doesn't seem to understand this.
Well, see, here's my thing.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And let me back up a tick, because I think we kind of a part of me feels like we didn't get a chance to kind of insert drama into the topic at hand, right? So we all know the age-old war between consoles ever since the dawn of, well, not necessarily Atari, but I guess you could go back that far. But since the dawn of the NES and Sega and everything, there's always been, serious competition between the companies and trying to build their communities, build their numbers, and keep their numbers, right? Mm. In the midst of all that, somehow PC gaming was kind of thrown into the mix, but was always the little stepchild on the side that was like, we were here before you mother effers. What's wrong with you, PC Master Race?
It's the oldest kid that went off to college.
Right, exactly. PC Master Race, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
All that stuff, right? And as, our kind of topic has developed, as consoles got more and more mature, bigger and bigger and bigger, more convenient, and finally decided that they were going to tap into the whole online thing. PC gamers, on the other hand, were always able, if they had the game, to be able to jump online and play those other gamers that are online on their game for free. No service fee, none of that. So, to
sort
them,
of. I mean, if you want to get technical about it, you're still paying for your internet.
You're paying, right, but you're not paying for your internet and then paying to play your games on the internet.
Yeah.
You're just paying for online service.
Right.
So, which is what our topic is about, paying for the online service for a specific console service, right? So for PC gamers, this concept is foreign. They laugh at console gamers and like, ha ha ha, you're paying 60, for this console, 60 for this other console, and 20 for this other console every single year just to play each other. You guys suck. Blah, all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. On the flip side, the console manufacturers are doing what I think a lot of the PC gamers don't recognize. When it comes to PC gaming or whatever, when you buy your PC or whatever, there is no one company. There is no one entity or whatever, because there's so many manufacturers, so many different software packages, OSs, graphics cards. Nobody's got their hand in the pot when you got a PC, because it's just open. It's the wild, wild west when it comes to PC.
There's just too many.
Right. So with the whole wild, wild west, you got the opportunity for all kinds of issues, problems, compatibility issues. This guy's got a better graphics card. His thing runs faster. His guy has a better ping rate and all this other kind of crap. I mean, kind of still have that with console stuff also, but you've got a lot more that you have to deal with because you've got to be PC savvy in order to keep your ish running tight, on par, and competitive when you jump online and play somebody, right?
Yep.
Flip side, consoles, they're trying to make an even playing field, and their whole concept is they want to build their community. They want to provide a community and a community service of some sort, so that everyone that plays this game on this console is on a relatively level playing field. I know it's kind of tipped out of balance when you got these Xbox One X's and PlayStation 4 Supers and all this other kind of stuff out there. But, relatively speaking, level playing field, right? And when I think it was Xbox that did it first, right?
Yeah.
When Xbox decided that they were going to take their whole Microsoft community and take their knowledge of just software and services and networking and everything and integrate it into the Xbox family or whatever, they said, you know what? In order for us to provide a better and more valuable service with this console, this entertainment, because they didn't want just be a gaming console. They wanted it to be an entertainment console. They wanted it to be more than just games. Yeah. They said, in order for us to provide these services, we need to have something to help us maintain it as well as build it. So we're going to start charging, for the online service. Yeah. Of course, everybody went, boo. But unlike Nintendo, just like Shawn said, and Esteban said, they were like, we are going to try to provide some kind of value. And in their value, they decided, let's see, I can't remember who. I think PlayStation was first with the whole free game stuff, right?
Yeah, it was PlayStation Plus because they did that before they started charging for the online service. They had PlayStation Plus where you gain the free games.
Yeah, they was just like, we have this thing called PlayStation Plus. Pay us money and we'll give you free games. And I think they also tied like cloud saves and something else.
Right. Yeah. Microsoft, on the other hand, the value that they were banking on was going to be on the entertainment side of things, as well as them boasting of the stability of their online service and their servers, because they're like, hey, we own our servers. Ours are going to be online all the time. You're not going to have outages like you have on PlayStation, because for a while there, PlayStation did kind of have that kind of problem where every once in a while it would just boom, it'd be off for a few days or something like that, and it would piss people off, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft was boasting. They were like, we own our servers. We manage our own servers. We're going to provide you like these live events like the iHeartRadio award show, or, we're going to start giving you live feeds into E3, which at the time was, you couldn't have, it was invite only or something like that, right? The public wasn't allowed in.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, we're going to give you live feeds into E3, we're gonna do this, we're gonna give you pay-per-view events and blah blah blah. You can connect your cable box, blah blah. They were just like, look, we're gonna put all kinds of crap in here that nobody even knows that they want, but we're gonna give it to them, and then they're really gonna want it, and then it'll be the value that all the other people don't recognize. Mm-hmm. And while it didn't 100% work, it did push the needle for PlayStation, because PlayStation jumped on board and they started doing the same thing. We're going to start offering TV shows, PlayStation exclusive TV shows and movies.
I think I could get a discount if I also sign up for PlayStation Vue.
I think there are other servers.
Something like that.
Yeah, I cannot confirm nor deny whether it's still a thing, but that sounds like something they do. But that whole thing, that was a part of what each one of the companies were starting to do. They were like, look, we're getting tired of making a box of crap every few years. We want to make it super duper and make it so that you can essentially use your cable or whatever, all of your services, all of your apps, everything in this box, so that you can use it on any television if you're a gamer or not a gamer. So hopefully we can sell more of these things to people that aren't even gamers. So in that sense, that was kind of why they were throwing all this money into the online service and their servers and everything and charging us for it, And of course, still PC gamers are like, nah, I steal all my movies and all this other kind of stuff. We don't need your box, nah.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, on the other hand, was just kind of sitting on the sideline, as they have since the beginning of time, looking at everybody going, what's going on? I don't get it. We just want to play Pokemon and Final Fantasy. Why can't people just be happy with Pokemon, Final Fantasy, a little bit of Monster Hunter, and call it a night? We gave you the stupid 3DS. Y'all can go and play with each other, like right next to each other. Y'all don't need to go play with somebody over in the US. Them fools are crazy. They like Duke Nukem and Halo and shooting games all the time. Don't do that. Play RPGs all day, every day. That the Nintendo, they just couldn't get. They didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Until they hit pay dirt with Smash Brothers. And they recognized the power of their fighting game and how their fighting game could get so much bigger and more powerful if it was online all the time. So I think that was when they were like, you know what? We've got to build this into our system. It was on the Wii, so it was already there. But we've got to build up this network so that we can make it so that more people will play this, want to play this, and get it on all of our systems and make it a little family or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't have that expertise. Yeah. So ever since the Wii, they've been trying to get this whole networking and system and Mii's and, your Mii ID, and they didn't know they have no clue.
Yeah. They don't.
All they know is that they need it in order to get their flagship online games to another level.
But you know what's funny about that? Sony didn't really get it either. Like, they had it on the PlayStation 2, and it was kind of janky. Yeah. And they had it on the PlayStation 3, and it worked, but it wasn't the best.
Well, it's for the same reason. They never really owned their servers. They rent their servers from someone else. So any kind of service or whatever that they want to provide or integrate or deal with, they have to deal with another company in order to get it to operate and function. So they don't understand all of the in between. All they know is what they want to do, put it on your ish so that our, users can have it. And they don't understand, what they need to actually have done in order for that to run smoothly. They just know this is what they want.
Or they could do what they did this generation and just bought another company to do it for them.
Yes, but early on they didn't have the money to do that. That was the thing. That's kind of why, it's kind of rocky. They get to that point.
I mean, I know they weren't doing super hot during the PS3 era, but PS2 era.
Well, let me rephrase. It's not that Sony didn't have the money. Sony's a big company.
Yeah.
They just didn't understand the value of doing that, because they looked at the gaming side of things as is gaming, is growing, is something to throw money at, and we'll get some money back, and it's profitable for them. So they're like we're there.
Now they understand the effort of it, because I don't know if this has changed since they first did this, but I remember around the time when the PlayStation 4 was coming out, it was revealed that technically the only vertical of Sony that was profitable at the time was the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Everything else was tanking.
Yeah, I mean, the whole technology landscape has changed drastically in the last, I want to say, 10 years, because all of the name brands that back in like the 90s and the 80s were stuff that, hey, if you buy a Sony headphone or Walkman, it's top of the line. You don't have to worry about it. Or speaker, you don't have to worry about it. You buy, what was the other one? Whirlpool. If you buy Whirlpool or Maytag, or I forget, there were certain name brands that you knew. If you bought, those were the top of the line for the most part, because they were the most expensive, and they had different grades in terms of value. So they had their expensive brand. So it was like Sony Vespa or Sony something, whatever their, they had different, Vio. They had different names for different levels. So, you could get top name Sony, mid-range Sony, or the cheapo Sony.
When I was young,
virtually everything they had.
When I was young, for that very reason, that's why I didn't understand the concept of video game consoles, because I was like, the NES is like the cheap model, and the Super Nintendo is like the normal model.
I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
The expensive one.
So you get it. That's that was the way that's how I to be.
And then to exacerbate that, it was the 90s, so everyone was getting into video game consoles. So I knew about the Neo Geo. I'm like, that's an expensive brand, right? That's
the top of the line.
That's top of the line, right?
Right. But with the whole technology change, as you jumped into the 2000s, so many other companies have been able to break that barrier. They jump in, they get it all, and they're able to have the same quality and technology now for less of a price. So, everyone else is getting in the door, and Sony just never, for a lot of their other products, they just never recognized the need to innovate on all that other kind of stuff. So they fell behind.
Which is weird, considering that everyone says, Nintendo's so innovative. People say that about Nintendo all the time. See, they're the weird ones. They go off and they do their own thing. That's why we can't grade them the way that we look at PlayStation and Xbox. They're not in the same boat as them. They're doing their own thing. No, you're just moving the goal closer for them.
Yeah, here's the thing about Nintendo, and that's the one thing I always keep stressing whenever it comes to them. Whenever they came into the market, because they were one of the pioneers, they're one of the grandfathers of it, they initially did it as a toy. They were initially more of a toy company than a video game company. So because of this, they still kind of have that little mentality of, we're treating video game consoles like a toy, where we have new gimmicks, new bells and whistles on this. So, when the GameCube came out, it's like, it's this purple box that we have a handle on it. Yeah. Why do you need a handle? Oh, so you can take it with you. I'm not going to be taking my GameCube with me whenever I go from place to place.
That was hilarious.
They struck gold with the Wii. That was just gold, right place, right time.
Yeah.
And then with the Wii U, they struck mud because they didn't fully understand, what people wanted at the time. And with the Nintendo Switch, they kind of understood. The Nintendo Switch is basically them covering up for the Wii U's mistake at this point.
Pretty much.
I think if you go to them that mentality of, oh, they're thinking more in terms of a toy rather than a game console. Instead of doing like a PC or a PC Lite, they're thinking more in terms of, okay, here's some more bells and whistles we can add on to this. I think right now they're looking at Xbox and PlayStation's like, oh, people are paying $50-$60 a year to have this service, and people are kind of expecting us to do the same. Sure. What should we put into it?
Well,
I think
Nintendo
they have-
doesn't like to copy.
Yeah, I think they have an idea of what they want to put on the service. But you know how it is, just like with anything else, you have to get it out there first and you have to get it working before you can start adding all the bells and whistles. So I think that's kind of the stage that we're at. Everyone's like, there's no value in it, which is true. But I think Nintendo probably has their bullet list of stuff that they're planning on adding once they figure it all out. That will make other people go, oh, okay, maybe.
And
that just tells me that that's not ready then.
Yeah,
pretty much. But they're so far behind when it comes to this whole aspect of the business of gaming consoles that they've got to get it out there.
That just tells me that the Switch wasn't ready.
The Switch wasn't ready.
The Switch wasn't, but man, they needed it. It may not be
you're
ready.
Right. They needed it because the Wii U was already dead.
Yes,
the Wii U had already been around for almost 5 years.
They couldn't wait any longer. They had to get it out, and even if it isn't ready, the Switch is doing very well.
Yeah,
very well.
And to kind of go against what you were saying, BJ, like saying Smash Bros. is their main multiplayer title. Smash Brothers is going to be the biggest flagship for online. I would argue that it's more, they've already had their big multiplayer title with Splatoon. And Splatoon 2 specifically for the Switch. Because
Smash came first.
Smash came first.
I think they recognized the power of what they had in Smash and how it could get much bigger if it was, if they could get the whole online thing straightened out.
Here's something I'm gonna say that I kind of agree with Shawn a little bit, because you're right, BJ, in that Smash is a bigger title and it would be for online if it was good. The thing you have to remember is that Smash Brothers has been online twice already, and it's been bad both times. There's now a precedent for Smash Brothers being terrible online.
Right, the service is terrible. They got to get the service right in order for it to get better. And they recognize.
But as a result, since it was bad twice already, people aren't just going to go and run up and be like, oh, the Switch has online now and it's going to have Smash. It's going to be awesome. People will be like, okay, here we go again. Let's see if this will actually work this time.
Yeah.
That's true. But the game is strong enough where they're going to actually attempt it. You see what I'm saying?
They already have a strong. They already have a strong multiplayer fighting game with ARMS.
Is it strong?
No.
Sorry, I missed the joke.
Look, when I first saw ARMS, I laughed.
I did too.
It was fun. Like I've
can see how it could be fun.
I've seen it's fun. It's fun, but if you're telling me like, oh, that's a good online fighting game, no, it's it's a glorified party game, which is probably fine.
That's Smash Brothers.
But
it fucking is too, but that's fine.
I do see what Sean's saying though. With Splatoon, they hit pay dirt.
Yeah.
Because it was the perfect marriage of everything that Nintendo didn't have. They didn't have a shooter. They didn't want to kill people with their shooter. They wanted it to be online, and it's
an interesting twist on the idea. And from what I understand, because I didn't play, I only played Splatoon a little bit, but from what I understand,
it looks fun.
It actually runs pretty well online. It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. So. You're so gracious.
Remember, it's Nintendo. We're setting the bar low.
Oh,
This is also
I like
we're also
Nintendo.
specifically talking about Nintendo Online.
Oh,
Okay.
but yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, let's
Try to stay on topic.
Let's talk about Nintendo Online. So this for me saying Splatoon actually runs okay. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the Great Danes and the
We're not talking about Ocarina of
massive
Time. We're
start
not
going
talking
over the
about
bar.
Smash. We're not talking about Mario Galaxy. We're talking about Nintendo's online service.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're saying the bar
We're
down.
talking about all the service.
Corgi
right?
trying to jump over the smallest rung on the ladder.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, let's get a little back on topic, huh? Let's
No.
No.
Nintendo Switch Online. Okay, so specifically in this, you're getting what? You're getting access to their voice chat mobile thing, on, so you can talk to people online that you play with on your phone. I probably shouldn't have started with that one, but you're getting. I think right now it's 20 NES games, which may or may not stay there. They're supposed to add to the library, but they might also just take games out.
It's kind of like
there is
Netflix
online play for those
NES.
NES titles. Let me see. What else do you get? You get the cloud saves. And then I think there was a fourth thing that they said was coming, but they didn't actually announce it.
Probably because they don't know what the fourth thing is yet.
Yeah.
We got something else. Don't worry. We got something else.
And of course, deals on eShop titles.
Huh?
Deals on eShop titles.
Oh, you get discounts, and then of course you get to play online.
You can also get the you can have the privilege to purchase the NES Classic controllers.
Yeah, those things are $60.
Yeah, man.
What?
Lots and lots of money.
What
But
the?
we eat it.
Oh my god! They're okay. Do they have Rumble or something? Do they have that HD Rumble crap? I mean, I guess they're online. I'm not online, but like wireless. But I mean, the technology in that is 30 fucking years old. What?
Got to start
Why?
somewhere, right?
I mean, that's $30 each. What the hell is? Okay, whatever. That's not even the worst thing about this.
Pretty much.
The one thing I will say is that they're only charging $20 a year, which is not terrible. But a lot of people are still complaining about it for a reason.
Because they haven't had to pay for it before, of course.
And then also, is this even worth it? Like,
No, not right now.
With these features that you're getting, and then the online service that you used to get for free and was also kind of mediocre to begin with, you now have to pay for it.
All in time, my Padawan. All in time.
I already said before, I think it's fine that online services are paid for because you have to keep up and everything like that. I would actually be okay with it if PC ended up having to pay for it too, because it's got to come from somewhere.
Stop right there, Valve.
Yeah.
No, you know why? No. Because guess what?
What?
Someone's got to pay for those servers. Someone has to pay for those servers over time. The only reason why PC doesn't have to pay is because there's no way for you to corroborate where everyone would be together enough to pay for it. And also because it would have to be cheaper because some people can do it themselves.
And they do.
So you wouldn't need as many servers, which means it would also have to be cheaper.
Right. Plus, if they want to have some kind of actual competitive edge, they have to manage the servers so that people don't cheat.
Also, and then here's the other thing too. The other thing about it is the other reason why you would have to pay on PC would also be if they would make sure that every single game got a dedicated server, but a lot of companies don't want to do that.
Right. It's an extra expense that they have to take care of. Who wants to do that? Just make the game. Only the huge studios or whatever are able to do that.
Yeah. All
That's a
right.
luxury that most cannot afford.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it sounds like we still got some more to take care of. But right now, we got to take a short little break. So when we come back, we'll continue talking about Nintendo's online service as well as the other online services, the hypothetical PC online service that we'll be paying for in 2022.
I'm not saying it's happening. Just I would be pissed off if it did.
I'm going to send hate mail to
America's
you if they
fallen.
do that, Esteban. I'm telling you right now, hate mail all day. If they decide to start doing that, it's your fault.
It is your fault.
Mhm.
I agree with BJ on this one.
If it's my fault, then I had more power than I realized, and with this power, give Telltale Games their money back.
Oh boy, what do I have a feeling that's next week's topic?
Okay, switching over.
And we're back. Continue talking about Nintendo's online service with myself, with Esteban, with BJ Brown. So during the break, spoiler alert, but Esteban said he had something nice to say about the online service. What's up with that?
Can't wait for this one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's a small detail, but I've seen some comparison videos online that's comparing the NES games, the quality of the NES emulation to a bunch of other stuff like original NES, the NES Classic, NES games on the Wii, and apparently this version of it, the Switch ones, are the best that they've ever been. The quality of the emulation is better than anything Nintendo's done before, including the NES Classic.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, with the multiplayer games like that, can't you also play online for some of those NES games?
Yep.
Like Mario Brothers, Balloon Fight,
Mm-hmm.
Ice Climbers, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, amazingly enough, is a feature that none of us knew that we really wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of these games I wouldn't care if they had them online or not. Like Mario Brothers, I really don't care. But I mean, it is a
it's one
feature
of
there,
those
and
things,
it's something extra.
Yeah, it's one of those games where, you remember the whole local co-op thing with your old NES was a big thing.
Mm.
And, now that none of the people that we local co-op with live near us anymore, brothers, sisters, friends, whatever, they live elsewhere, you got to go and figure out how to do it some other way. And that's why you need the online thing. So, yeah.
I'm not going to fight it. I mean, I bought the Sega Genesis Classics on PS4. I can play Streets of Rage.
Don't lie. You're going to fight it. I know you, Esteban. You're going to fight it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm just waiting for it. You said something nice, so where is the nuclear bomb? Drop it. I'm waiting for it.
There's borders on the games, and
Boom,
you can't
there it
remove
is.
them. I mean, I personally don't care, but the videos that I was watching said that the reason why some people like to remove them is because their TVs are sensitive to burn-in.
Yeah.
Like if you have a certain picture there for too long, it burns.
Yeah.
Well, since you can't remove the sidebars from the NES games, if you play them a long time, there's the risk that those side things would burn into the screen.
But I think that's only with like plasma. I think LCD, it's fine. You don't have to worry about that.
That and I think OLED also.
Yeah, it was something like that. I don't.
No, you're right about plasma, but I think OLED also has that problem.
I have a feeling that this is going to be like Esteban's Daily Bugle moment. Like, you'll have a video on his site. He's going to be like J. Jonah Jameson chasing after Spider-Man. It's going to be Esteban chasing after Nintendo. Nintendo's set out to destroy your TVs. Wake up, ladies and gentlemen.
I need something like for a cigar. I don't have anything for a cigar. I just have my little remote here.
That works. That works.
Get me that Miyamoto.
Thumbnail.
But like the whole NES emulation thing, that's great, and I would like that if they were to expand on it in the future. Because when I think to NES titles, I don't think of really many or any that I can actually play multiplayer. Because that you have some, it's not to say there's none out there, but if they really build on that and go to the SNES, I would want them to do N64 as well, but I feel like that's reaching too far for Nintendo's comfort. But even on the SNES, there are some multiplayer titles on there that you can put on there and say, okay, Super Mario Kart, we have that local co-op online. And people will be like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I like this.
The other problem also is that Nintendo's past offerings have just been getting worse and worse. They actually nailed it with the Wii. The virtual console on there is actually pretty good. Emulation of NES games notwithstanding, it's actually pretty comprehensive. You got some really oddball games in there as well, and they were just the original titles. And then the Wii U came out and it didn't have as many, and it didn't really have any third-party systems. And now the virtual console isn't even on the Switch. and now they're just like, pay us monthly for 20 games that you'll probably only play like 2 or 3 of them. Again, you mentioned it earlier, Shawn. Why do they keep pushing Balloon Fight on this? Why do they keep pushing this freaking ripoff of Joust?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
If I could answer, I would.
And it just gets worse and worse. And I don't buy that the reason is because they are selling like the NES and Super NES Classic. Because that's a different market, which is why I like those ideas. That's for the person who doesn't want to buy a Switch, who doesn't want to drop $300 just so they can play their childhood. You know, and I think that's totally fine. I think every company out there should be making some sort of like small miniature thing that you can buy like as a stocking stuffer on Christmas.
Yeah, it's the new thing. Mm-hmm. They're all gonna do it.
PlayStation Classic is coming out. I'm psyched for it. I have a PlayStation 3 that I could just put PS1 games in and play it like that.
Which we predicted on this podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why I shared that shit
on our YouTube channel. Just saying.
That's right.
Shared that shit. I shared that shit. I said, go check this out. We were talking about this. I tell you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, no checks coming our way for our genius.
I know.
But that's another story.
Bastards. Anyway.
By the way, sidetrack. Real quick about that, because I mentioned in that episode about, hey, we're going to put Tekken 2 in there because there's no way they're going to get Tekken 3. How the fuck did they get Tekken 3? Did you pay, Sony, did you actually pay for that fucking dinosaur?
They probably did.
Would you not pay for that dinosaur? I mean,
they did it before.
Essential.
They did it before. PS1 Classic is on the PlayStation 3. Tekken 1 is on there, Tekken 2 is on there, and then they fucking stopped. Tekken 3 is not on there. Because they wouldn't pay for the dinosaur. Did you pay for the dinosaur? Or did something happen to Gon? What has happened to Gon? Did he go out of business? Did the company like abandon him? What happened? What happened?
Hashtag Gongate. Gone? Like, is that a thing?
Gone. That's too hard. Just Gongate.
Pretty much. You got to work on your social media skills there.
I know it. I know it. But yeah, the whole thing with Nintendo's online services is that it not only is it a weaker serving compared to the other online services, but in some ways it's even weaker than what Nintendo offered previously, considering that you had online free before. The virtual console / past games offerings are weaker, despite its good and best emulation thus far in online services. And I mean, a freaking mobile app. I have to pay
for
a mobile
really
app.
The most is it's not because whenever I go through Xbox Live, I'm like, okay, party chat. Here we go. That's good. I don't always use it, but it's great to have. PlayStation Network, same thing. It tries to build its community up a bit with the whole, communities and groups, but you can still do party chat. Nintendo
is afraid of you talking to people.
Yeah,
they should be with all the kids that they got in their community.
So that's what parental controls are for.
Yeah, but as we've stated before, Nintendo knows what they know. Anything outside of that box is like Martian language to them.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I would be okay with that because they do have an app that has parental controls. And I'm 100% for that. They can have something on there where it's just like, okay, either filter profanity, which you can do, or you can have it be like, okay, we'll let you play online, but no voice chat. Like, you can't have a dedicated voice chat thing. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, fine. Just turn it off.
Yeah. And having this separate app, having to use your phone with it, One, I mean, I'm not going to be. A lot of times, I use my phone while I'm playing a game, either if it's to play a video or if it's just to look up different cheats for Splatoon 2 on how to get good. It's having that on there just seems like if something goes wrong with it, which something inevitably does because it's an online service, nothing's always good the first time around. It just feels like Nintendo's way of saying, well, it's not us. It's something wrong with your cell phone. It's not something wrong with your Switch. And it just makes me feel like that's a weak excuse, but it's Nintendo. I'm sure that they'll be able to pull it. Mark my words. Mark your calendars. Nintendo's going to say something along those lines.
Probably.
Well, what
I
about
don't doubt it.
what about PlayStation and Xbox? Because we've been focusing on Nintendo since they're the new hotness because they just announced the new service. But I mean, I just mentioned even just the thought of maybe having to pay online for PC, and that freaked the both of you out.
Oh hell yeah! I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Here's my thing. I admire Microsoft for their attempts to innovate. They've fallen short probably one too many times between the Kinect and the requirement of having to have the Kinect and, you know, a couple of other things that they probably added to the Xbox online service and kicked off. And they just may have hit pay dirt with the whole Game Pass thing because that is working like gangbusters. But, you know, they had to fall on their face quite a few times beforehand before they recognized the service that they could utilize on, you know, on the platform and with their online service that really was value, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, the Game Pass thing isn't embedded in there, but that's a different story. They should, honestly, I feel like they should just throw that ish in there because you're paying all that money for it. Just throw it in there. I bet you they'd sell more consoles if they did.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, they're doing kind of that thing where they're actually bundling a console in with it, where over 2 years you don't pay off the console, pay for Game Pass, and pay for Xbox Live.
Yes, that's coming down the line though. I don't think that's
yeah, it's coming down the line,
yet,
but
right? Yeah, it's not a thing yet.
Have announced.
Right.
It's
okay.
financing.
That's right. We did talk about that
idea.
before. Yeah. It's a great idea to stick that in there because that's always been a chore for anyone that buys a new console. You pay upwards $600 to get the console and a couple of game pads, and all of a sudden you've got 0 games for it. And then there's such a priority put towards, oh, you can use your old games from your old system, and then they drive themselves crazy on trying to have multiple chipsets so that you can stick the old game in there and play it and all that kind of stuff and emulation and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. Whereas, just like Shawn was saying, you have the Game Pass in there. It's in there. It's already in the system. You don't have to worry about chipsets, any of that junk. It's online, boom, bada bing, bada bow. You've got all these games at your disposal. Plug it in, hook to the internet, pay for the service, boom, games, instant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should, you know, ever since they started doing it, that should have been the model. But, you know, my guess is, since it's taken all of the systems this long, emulation, you know, online emulation, just technology for it just wasn't there for it to be smooth enough for them to justify it until recently.
Yeah,
because, you know, the whole on live service was there, and I forget, I think Sony bought them, right?
There was a PlayStation Now, that service that is still kicking, but
something that Sony bought on live.
Oh yeah, it was similar though. But it's a similar technology, but it's essentially that same, you know, essentially.
I used to use On Live.
I did too. I had it.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
There were some games that didn't work great for it, but some of the ones were fine. I
Well,
played
yeah,
them.
it just like with everything, it was totally dependent on your internet
I
connection. If your
played the
internet connection was
entirety of Mafia
horrible, then
2
your
that way.
game, yeah, if your internet connection was bad, then your games severely it hurt you big time.
Yeah.
So yeah, the premise was great, but it was too dependent on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Microsoft has come a long way. I still don't think they've gotten that right balance between making it an entertainment service yet. All of the things that they promised that they were going to deliver that have been outside of the gaming sphere, I don't think any of that ish has come to pass. Like I can't remember, was the whole Halo TV show thing supposed to be an Xbox exclusive, or was that on Showtime or something weird?
It was supposed to be on Xbox.
Was it?
Yeah.
They're still making it now. I think it's supposed to be on Netflix though.
Well, yeah, I think at first it was supposed to be on Xbox,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Oh, that shit isn't gonna work." So they were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, we'll sell it off to somebody like HBO or Netflix or whoever, and they'll do it."
Yeah. It's Showtime. I'm pretty certain.
That's what
Oh,
I
Showtime?
thought. I
Okay,
thought
yeah.
it was like Showtime or something
Okay,
like that.
I might be
Yeah.
wrong.
But I don't remember the last time Xbox has been on that trip of saying, "Oh, look at the other services and stuff that the Xbox Infinity can provide or can do or whatever," in a while.
Mhm.
I think like maybe the last couple of E3s, they've just been like games, games, games. They finally got off the Kinect trip. They were like, they may have kind of thrown in the what was it, the
The HoloLens.
HoloLens. But I think after the whole Google Glass, fallout, they were like, okay, wait until we get all of the politics and stuff out of this before we even go down that road.
Yeah.
Because and I do have to applaud them because they did relatively well in deciding not to buy into the VR madness.
Mhm.
They were just like, we'll partner with whomever, they'll bring their hardware in and we'll let them play with it, but we're not going to have our own dedicated VR BS because, that issues for the birds. So I do at least applaud them for not going, all out and showing their ass on that. Like somebody else did.
Yeah.
But I still think it'll be interesting to see what Microsoft does for this next generation, whether they still have that kind of focus. I think they will, just off of the strength that they can't help themselves but use all the other technology in the like Microsoft family or whatever that they have. It's like they've got too many apples on the tree and they can't help but just pick like 3/4 of them because they all look nice, even if they don't necessarily need them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think?
So I'm going back to what Esteban was saying about, how come we're ragging on Nintendo and not just, Xbox and PlayStation does all this. What about their services? The thing that I always think back to is, okay, what was the killer app for Xbox Live? Because
Halo 2.
Halo 2. Yep, that's it. That's it. It was Halo 2. And it's just like, well, Halo was such a good game and everything. Here, you've got Halo 2. And Halo 2 kind of kickstarted Xbox Live being like, yeah, I got to pay a premium for it. But
it's Halo 2.
God damn, look at this.
Yeah.
And PlayStation, while it didn't have the one quality title for that, it had several quality titles there that you could play multiplayer with. And whenever it came out on the PS4, they were like, okay, cool. You got Killzone Shadowfall. You've got, I forgot all the other launch titles that actually mattered. Multiplayer focused.
Call of Duty Ghosts?
Yeah,
It was Call of Duty.
We'll throw Call of Duty and Battlefield in there because I think
Battlefield 4.
That's probably what they did. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, they had some multiplayer offerings. They said, okay, here you go. Here's some quality multiplayer games, yeah, you're paying for all the online service, but remember what happened in 2011? Do you want that to happen again? Thought so. And I think it was through that they were like, okay, yeah, do that. Because after the 2011 debacle,
Yeah.
People are just like, okay, I don't care if it's free. I will pay you money, Sony, to get your shit together. And they said, pay us money. Well,
why yes.
And to be fair, I mean, nothing like that has happened. Like the PlayStation 4's online service is a lot better.
Yeah, I think they had something a little bit where it was like a day or two offline, but that was like during Christmas. That was like a DDoS attack.
Yeah.
If I remember that correctly.
It was hacking. Yeah,
it was basically something
actually,
like that.
If I remember correctly, I think something happened to Xbox too.
Yeah,
it was Xbox and PlayStation at the same time.
Both of them.
But Xbox got everything switched around like within a day, whereas PlayStation took an extra couple of days to get everything taken care of. But even then, like at that point, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I understand why this needs to be done. And, because there are so many games that depend on that, it makes me think, okay, yeah, that's fine. I am perfectly okay with paying for this service. If we talk about
the free games didn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the free games didn't hurt. Whereas Nintendo, what games am I really playing online? If I'm a Nintendo fan, if I'm a Nintendo fanboy, saying, okay, cool, I got a Switch. Okay.
Well, keep going. I gotta take off real quick, but keep going. Sorry.
Okay. Oh no, emergency. But anyway, if you're a Nintendo fanboy, you've gone to Switch and you've got the SNES Mini, you've got the NES Mini. All right, okay. I guess Splatoon, ARMS, Smash hasn't come out yet.
Mario
Kart, yeah. So there's a good couple of games, and they've even said Fortnite. Fortnite will not require Nintendo Online though.
Oh, really?
They've already said Fortnite, you don't need to do Nintendo Online, so they're like, okay, that doesn't make sense, but I guess Epic's gonna pay the bill on that.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And at the same time, cloud saving seems to be the only reason to actually get it. If I really want, to play some NES games, I'll probably play that NES Mini that I have on my shelf. Yeah, the emulation's good, but how many people really know about that? How many people are going to be like Esteban, who's going to sit, at his computer and say, oh, this looks really good. Oh, you can actually play online on that? I didn't know about that. And Nintendo's going to be like, yeah, that's great. This is awesome. But, for the average Joe, I mean,
Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, Donkey Kong's Donkey Kong. I think the point I'm getting at right now is you're not going to see people play Battlefield 5 on Switch. You're not going to see people do Call of Duty on Switch, like competitively and all this. You're going to see people do that either on PC or on Xbox or on PlayStation, where they sit down and have those tournaments and everything else like that. Now, people are going to do this for Smash. People are going to do that for Splatoon. People are going to do that for Nintendo's first-party titles that they have out there, which is good and is neat, and I'm glad that it's $20 a year rather than the, $50, $60 for PSN and Xbox Live. And I think for the value for what you're getting isn't terrible. I'm just not going to buy into it until, Esteban comes back and...
I'm back.
Basically, the point I was getting was you're not going to play, the other huge multiplayer titles on Switch besides, a couple of games. And at this point,
couple of exclusives, basically.
Yeah, I'm willing to hold off on Nintendo Online until I see how their servers hold up before I'm able to drop that 20 and say, okay, deal me in.
Well, I'm pretty sure you already have your answer then, but I mean, I, it's hard to say that I only want is for Nintendo to just do what everyone else is doing, because they will never do that, because they don't like to copy other people.
And we've already seen that not only will they not do that, they won't do it well.
Yeah, I mean, sure, I guess. But I don't know. I look at services like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, I guess.
Yeah.
And you could argue, I don't really like to pay for these services because I just want to play the games online, and PC is there. Why do I have to pay? I don't have to pay there, so why do I have to pay here? I see the things that they do: free games, convenience of chat, like a friends list, other various perks, cloud save, stuff like that, and it's worth it to me. If anything, maybe you could argue that I don't want to pay for having to play online, but you also get all these other features that kind of make it worth it. And the only reason why it's more convenient now on PC is because we have a third-party app essentially doing that other stuff for us. Typically, it's Steam, but it could be Battle.net, it could be
Origin,
whatever it may be.
Uplay.
And they do this because it's just another way of controlling you in some ways, since they can't, we can't charge them for it, so we got to do something. So we'll force them to use our app that is probably terrible, like Uplay, and
it is.
Yeah. And then they won't have no choice, and we'll at least get some data out of it.
Analytics and so forth.
Yeah. I guess what I'm getting at is, for me, I at least see the value in that, even if you disagree with having to do this for this other reason, playing online, I at least see the value in it. I don't see the value in what Nintendo is doing, because they've either done part of it better, the NES stuff, or the main thing that they're trying to do, playing online, has been proven to be pretty mediocre.
Nintendo
needs some sort of
limited offerings in it.
Nintendo needs to show that they're serious about this and that they can actually handle it, and they've not done that. And they rarely do things like that, which is one of my problems with Nintendo, is that they just seem to feel entitled to a lot of things. They feel entitled to success. They feel entitled to rave reviews for their games. They feel entitled to the time of day, because they won't go to freaking E3 and just gives you a video instead. Even if it's a well-produced video, get out there with the rest of the video game industry, right? I mean, they feel entitled to be able to do all these other extra things, side things, and then be able to get away with it. And that's always bugged me about the company.
Yeah.
And this reeks of it as well. But if they were to actually prove and show that they can do something that's of substantial quality, then maybe it'd be worth it. I think it really... Imagine if actually Smash Brothers Ultimate comes out and it actually runs fantastic. That would be a huge selling point for that. None of us believe that, which says something. But imagine if it actually did.
I just think, me personally, and this will probably be the last thing I'll say about it, I just think it's still early. Mm-hmm. Give them time, because I do think the value will come. I just think that because it's new, it's fresh, and it's having to pay for it is different. And again, since it's early on, there's only so much that they can put in in terms of value, considering that they don't have the capability and resources to pull from in order to add and provide what Sony and Microsoft provide with their online services. Now, just like we've always said, and we've already covered it, at the very least, they could do something with the game, adding games or giving free games or something. They could do better on that front in terms of value, much better. But, in terms of like the actual quality of the online service and, how well stuff runs on it, I think that'll come in time. I think it'll be poor for a while, but, I do think it will get better.
Maybe. I mean, they'll be getting money to maintain it now. It happened with Sony. There's always a possibility.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Take us home, Shawn.
I was about to say, ladies and gentlemen, that sounds like a podcast from us. We certainly appreciate you all joining in and having a great time with myself, Esteban, and BJ Brown, though, right there. So kind of going through the offerings. First of all, you can always catch us Tuesdays at 10 o'clock at twitch.tv/Shaded Pixels Podcast. You can find the audio version of this podcast at podcast.com. That'll be uploaded Wednesdays at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific at night. And then Thursdays at 10 a.m. or 7 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. Then you'll find it uploaded on YouTube in a video form. We got some other stuff coming. Don't know what that is yet, but we got some things lurking in the background. As for me personally, I actually have videos on my channel. Thank the Lord. Have an update video on there, as well as part of my just like wider Let's Play series. I'm also having my review of Spider-Man going up. It'll be up by the time this goes to YouTube. So you can always check it out there at youtube.com/Jonathan Studios. You can always find me on Twitter at LittleBigCam to catch up on all my stuff. But it's not all about me. Esteban, what you got?
Hi. I'm Esteban. Let's see. My video content is actually a little weird recently because I'm going to be adjusting things since the numbers on things have not been quite to my liking. So there's going to be...
We got plans for you, though. We got plans for you. Don't worry.
Yeah. I got some ideas that I'm going to be working on, but the Alice Madness Returns playthrough and the Sonic Adventure playthrough, they will probably be stopping at the end of this week. As a matter of fact, the Sonic Adventure one is probably already done. The last episode that I had recorded went up last week. And the last episode of Alice Madness Returns go up this week. That's Monday and Thursday this week. So if you do want to check them out, you're free to at youtube.com/user/colorwin. Other than that, streams are also a little bit in flux for more or less the same reason. I don't have anything planned for that yet. But you can go to my blog, and I do a weekly post there called My Gaming Landscape, and you could always read about the video games that I've been playing recently. Spoilers, for some reason, because I was just in a mood, I decided to boot up the remake of Ratchet & Clank on PS4. That game is really good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really good. As someone who was not super crazy on the very first Ratchet & Clank, that game is really good.
It's fun.
And other than that, just follow me up on the socials on Twitter and Facebook and all that at Hey Colorwin, which should be right below me, right about here. And,
all right.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. BJ, what you got for us?
Not a daggone thing. I do have stuff that I'm cooking up. It's mostly on the writing front, but the easiest thing to do is just stay tied and notified to my Twitter, which is Bunny3000, and I will shoot links and share and shouts and all kinds of stuff from there. And of course, follow me everywhere else on Twitch and YouTube and everything, and you'll get a dose. You'll get a dose. No worries.
All right, perfect. Well, gentlemen, with us and ladies and gentlemen out there, we appreciate you being here. We look forward to seeing you next week on the Shaded Pixels podcast. See ya.